Oh man, what a day. It has been a day.
Yeah,
Whew.
the end twist of the Chucky TV series, like, oh my God, that was something that was a real, uh, yeah, it was a bomb to just go off to leave off on. It was crazy. I was like, wow, you really went there. But anyway, yeah, man, yeah, long day over here as well. But thank God tomorrow's Friday and we've got the weekend. Speaking of Chucky, real quick, before we shift gears, I only grabbed one little thing that I bought this week, even though you know me, I bought a lot. Look at that, man. Went to Spirit Halloween and bought the voodoo knife from the first movie.
I have to say that is nice. I went to Spirit and I want to buy one of the Killer Clown hard masks and I
Yeah.
want to turn it into an art project. But I did do something.
Oh, no, bro.
It's all finished.
It looks so good. The blood looks like dark and nasty and crusty. It looks so good.
And this started out as your average yellow Ruby's chainsaw.
Yeah.
So I think I did old Bubba a little bit of justice here. So yeah, Halloween's gonna be fun. Poor neighbor kids don't even have a chance.
Oh, Jason was talking about the 2017 Leatherface twist. Oh, bro, so horribly bad. Like literally,
Yeah,
I was looking at my wall and trying to figure out where the studs were so I could put my head through the wall. Like I was gonna aim for the studs to really impact it. Like it was so bad. Like I think I texted Caleb before the movie, during the movie, and after the movie, and I like again it was one of those like depression sets in because it was so brutal.
what sucks for me is I liked the movie until that part. Like I thought
Yeah.
it was right up the alley of a modern Texas Chainsaw Massacre retelling.
Yeah.
Thought it worked, and then with that red herring situation, it just sucked.
Yeah, it went from like a solid 6.5 to like a three, maybe a two. Like it, that's how bad. Like I was on board. I'm
No,
like, okay.
it went from a 6.5 to a -100.
Yeah, it was bad. God, that's depressing. It's so depressing. So Paul asked a question. Have any of you heard of the horror game, The Query? It sounds like something I've heard of, but I know zero about it. I guess I feel like I've
Honestly,
heard it mentioned.
the horror games I know the most about at the moment are the Silent Hill series, and I have a lot of interest in the Killer Clowns game. Outside of that, I don't have a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I've just been grinding away. I've been trying to knock out little projects and stuff like that. I've got a lot of custom videos that I spent way too much time on, uh, but it has been a lot of fun, and like the effort I put into these. Like when I look at them, dude, I'm just looking at a couple of them right now. It's making me really happy. Like it's stuff like as a kid I thought I'd never really get, and it's making me happy, dude. I can't wait to unbox that
That's
RoboCop too.
that's me with this chainsaw. I never thought that I would get to this level of meticulous
Yeah.
effort and time put into something like this.
Yeah, I don't know where it went. Oh yeah, the hang on.
I'm sorry, everybody. I am getting over some weird allergy stuff. It kicked up this morning with the cold front. So if you hear some noises, my apologies.
David Arquette is in it, and one of the characters. Oh, okay, nice. Gotta love me some David Arquette. I hope he does more. I really like. Not to mention how hard it was even to find the chainsaw. Yeah,
Yeah, I got it for $8, but nobody had one for sale for less than 100
hey,
because Spirit Halloween stopped selling them. Their maker stopped making them. Now they have an alternative in their stores for $50, and I just happened to scroll through Marketplace on the right day. Gentleman I am now friends with has been selling a lot of random things, and super nice guy. He was like,
he's great.
yeah, he was like, he's like, I know it's only $8, but if it doesn't work, bring it back. I'll give you your money back. It's no big deal. I'm like, no, man, it's $8. I told him what I was doing. He's like, oh, cool. And so, yeah, that was awesome.
So wait, now you have two friends. God dang it. Our bond is gone. Like, what made us special, it's just gone now.
You'll be all right.
But yeah, oh yeah, but yeah, what I was gonna say is this guy right here, like, I still won't say how long this guy took me, but it was stupid, but it was a lot of fun. Like, doing some of these details with a toothpick and some paint. But
Oh yeah,
I
that
just,
looks
like,
that looks really good.
it looks like the show. I mean, this is a $16 figure that looks horrible. It doesn't. I mean, it looks pretty bad, but you paint it up a little bit, and it's your childhood in your hands. But anyway, so tonight we will be ranking the adult Michael Myers, and the reason we're going to be doing the adults is because it's not really fair to put the kids in there. In the first movie, he had no lines, and he's on screen for about 10 seconds. Like, really, there's just no reason. The kid Myers in 2007, solid, but he doesn't rack. He doesn't. It's just apples and oranges.
I also want to point out somebody in this chat only wanted us to do 10. I forced 11. There could be 12, but I don't want to. So we are not including Tony Moran. I just want everybody to know that.
Yeah, he had literally 3 seconds of screen time. He does not count. Like, anybody, he brings nothing to the character. Nothing.
And there's been a lot of controversy around him and his appearances and stuff like that. And I just, with all that, I'm leaving it out for now. One day, maybe if the dust settles, I wouldn't mind adding him in, but there's a lot going on there. From what I understand, the only scene he did is the mask off adult Myers.
Right.
If I'm wrong, tell me. I'm happy to be wrong, but that's why we agreed to not count him.
Right. No, he was there for an evening. He helped out on I think maybe a little bit of Leaves, and then yeah, literally, like, he shot that one scene, and now he shot the scene more than once, but his performance on screen, it's 3 seconds. Like, it just doesn't. It's not proper to rank him up against anybody else, which is also why one of the other ones I didn't want on the list, because it's not fair to put him in there when you talk about one person that had a whole movie and then you give another person that had 2 minutes. Like, it just doesn't feel right. But Caleb insisted, and I can only argue with my wife and my kids so much, so I just give in to Caleb. Somebody's got to give in somewhere. But
well, one you added has like a very short, brief moment in a film as well. So I stood my ground.
But he at least has he has a lot of movement, and a kill that's solid. It fits the time. It fits the flow. Where the other one just
mine has a solid kill too.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so I'll let you go first. What's your least favorite? What's number 11?
This one's probably going to piss you off.
Oh,
I don't care. And that is Chris Duran, Halloween H2O.
Oh, God, you're killing me. Chris Duran?
Honestly, he is the least motivated looking, feeling Myers in the films. I love Halloween H2O. I mean, we've already talked about that. But it's just... He doesn't fit all the same movements, all the same types. You see the eyes. You see too much. He's my number 11.
Yeah, that's the problem with, like I was saying before you got on here, is like a lot of it, the problem is that I wanted to be as objective as possible, but your nostalgia, your love for the character, the movie, like everything else, it just kind of has to go in the blender of reasons why. Like, their movements, their portrayal can be great, but if they have a bad mask, like, it just hurts the character. It hurts their performance. It's not their fault. Yeah. It's the same thing with, like, they were written to do this. It's not their fault, but it still hurts their portrayal. Nothing against them. I actually don't dislike any Michael Myers. There's certain things. There's more I dislike more, but I don't really hate any Michael Myers. Like,
agreed. I guess I should have pointed that out before I listed my last. Yeah. I don't hate him. I don't it doesn't make the movie difficult for me to watch. I think that he did fine with what he was given. That's just true. If he happened to show up at one of our local cons, I would definitely get an autograph.
Yeah. So my number 11 really isn't fair because it should be number 10. Like my number 10 should be 11, my 11 should be 10. But the reason why my number 11 is dead last is because they just don't give him a whole lot to do. They don't give him a great mask. They don't give him a great story. And they, and he's not crying blood tears. That's Don Shanks. I have nothing really negative to say about the guy. I think his movements are pretty solid. I don't like some of the shots with him, like in the daytime in the closet and moving around, and then the background and the trees and stuff like that. There's certain things I don't really care for, but as far as his portrayals, what he was doing, what he was told to do, I think he did a great job. Kills are solid. Like he feels vicious. His movements feel slow and creepy and thought out. Like so, I think he does a good job. They just didn't give him enough to do. And that doesn't. It's the mask that holds him down, the collar, the outfit, but still nothing really against him. I'm not like I don't hate him. The next one I'm gonna talk about. There's some things I hate about this next one, but there's some redeeming that help him climb out of the dead last.
That's fair.
Yeah, different movie, different mask.
I'll talk more about him when I get to him on my list. More that makes me appreciate him than not appreciate him. I'll get there when I get to him. My number 10.
I love it. He grunted when he stabbed and walked too fast. I hated it. Yeah, for that movie, when we get there,
watch Jason Goes to Hell. If you think those grunts are bad, go watch Jason Goes to Hell.
That's pretty atrocious. Yeah.
The grunts are bad.
The sound,
like you think Myers grunts are bad.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I still love the look.
Yeah. We have some ups and downs with Rob Zombie Halloween, but the grunts weren't as bad in the first movie, but he dialed them to 11 in the second movie. Like he really did. Like where it could bother you in the first one, it is jarring in the second one. I will say that for sure. But all right, man, what's your number 10?
God, you're gonna hate my list. That would be Mr. Armstrong in Halloween Kills as the flashback Michael Myers.
Wow.
I was hoping I was going to love the flashback scene in Halloween Kills, and it is my least favorite part of the movie. The mask looks good. His movements seem all right. It's not on par with what we see in 78, so I'm less on board with it. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't have an attachment to it. I don't care. Like I said, it's a cool mask. Outside of that, I got nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really nothing bad. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Even the worst ones we're talking about, we're not like really bashing too much. This is
not at all.
This is the one I will probably bash the most because there is just so much that. I look at it and I'm like, I just don't understand how you could film this all the time and you could do, dress rehearsals and design and all this stuff. And this is like, yeah, this is where we're going with the entire movie. Oh my God. And that is George P. Wilbur. And I know he's top 3 or 4 for most people, but George Wilbur in that Halloween 4, the pads are terrible. The mask is garbage. When he's walking up the steps, like it reminds me a lot of Warlock at the end of Halloween 2. Like, there's just a lot of bad shots. Like, there's good shots and a lot of bad shots with him in it. And he's got some standout scenes in this movie, like with, he's got a lot of good kills. Like, Michael Myers is a presence in the movie. The way he moves past Rachel in the grass, the way he's going up the house, when he's chasing after both of them. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in it, but it's just so bad and so jarring. It just rips me out of the movie and frustrates me every time I watch it. And
I disagree with everything you just said, but continue.
Well, so on the other side of that, like when he's charging somebody, like more in 6, when he's charging somebody, when he's actually moving, like when he grabs dude by the face and either breaks his neck or whatever in the rain, when he's falling down the steps and grabs her by the ankle, you know what I mean? Like there is some really good movements and shots, and the way he puts that nurse up on the spike and he steps back and he just looks at it, and the way he slowly, he lets it breathe. Like, he and the director let it breathe. You know what I mean? They really let him just enjoy his work and then move on with his day.
Yeah.
His Michael Myers is less playful. Like, there's less dressing up, there's less set pieces, and there's less shrines and stuff like that. Like, he's a good Michael Myers. There's just, I mean, it really boils down to, he's slow sometimes, the mask is terrible, the shoulder pads are atrocious. The scene on him where he's doing jujitsu on the truck, and then when he gets hit in the cemetery, he's shot like 500,000 times. Like, it just, he looks like the movements are bad. Like, it's he's great, and then he's bad. Like, there's so much give and take, and that's why I put him just a little bit above Don Shanks, because there's some greatness, and then there's some stuff that's just like, oh God, shoot that again and shoot it different and get a mask, get a different one.
I don't like your choices.
I know this is this is gonna be the worst one, I feel like, because yeah, even Jason was like, what the hell? I know, man, I can't, like, he's bad in H4. There's some really bad moments. Like, Tom Morga should have been Michael in that entire movie. Like, you can leave in George P. for 6, but for 4, I don't think he knew what he was doing, or he was brought in. He was brought in last second, so I don't know. I don't know if he wasn't prepped. I don't know. Shoulder pads are terrible.
So my number 9 is Don Shanks. Now hear me out. He is the shortest to portray Michael Myers, but he did not feel like it in the movie
At all.
He did feel large. He felt big. He felt intimidating. Maybe not Tyler Mane big, but with that knowledge alone, that makes me really appreciate him as an actor under the Michael Myers mask. No! Knowing that he was the shortest person to play Michael, and you don't feel it, and also knowing that the mask was too small for him also added its own interesting, like, he gave everything he could for what he was given to work with, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for the stories that came out of that movie and what he did to try and be the Shape. Yeah, no, he didn't seem short at all.
Right. Duran feels short.
Wild. Yeah, Duran feels short. Yeah. He does. Like, when you watch the movie, you're like,
And they're always shooting him from an upward angle too, like to make him look more intimidating. The way he's, like, you know, and he still looks short. I don't know what it is, but yeah, well, it's his pigeon toe and he's got some things that don't help him, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Don Shanks, I do think, given a better film, he would be higher on the list, just because he does have a dominating presence on the screen.
Right.
What they gave him to work with wasn't the best, but he himself was not the problem.
Right. Yeah, I really don't have any negatives for, like, his portrayal. It's give him a different mask, different story, different coveralls, like, and he jumps high. But yeah, unfortunately, he's just surrounded by crap, and, like, it bleeds onto him. And there's just nothing you can do about it. But yeah, nothing bad. And I get it. Like, I don't know. There's little I mean, everybody in all these Michaels, there's probably a little twitch or two that doesn't quite work. I've got a couple that I'll talk about here that I absolutely love, but they move sometimes. I'm like, ooh. But anyway, yeah, my number 9 is one that I did not want on the list, because I don't feel it's fair to rank him along with the other ones. And it's only because, like, he's gonna be higher than other people that got a full movie. Like, George P. Wilbur got a movie and a half. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the most part, a movie and a quarter, I guess. But still, that is Tom Morga, and I think he's fantastic. I love the bandage look. I like the thumb through the forehead. And then when he stands up from the chair, like, he does a good job for his scenes. I really don't like how his legs are together in that long shot. It feels weird, you know, because the wrap just looks weird at a distance with the mechanic's suit just being flush, and with how he's standing there kind of like a penguin. It just looks a little weird. But other than that one little scene, and it is creepy though. To be fair, like it looks weird, but it is creepy. He's on screen for probably a total of, I mean, if I'm really breaking this down,
maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
Not even, man. Because like he stands up, that's probably a 10 to 20 second clip. He doesn't move when Loomis is looking at him. So you could literally just take a picture of that and zoom in on it. The mechanic kill, he stands over him and kills him. Like, I love everything he's in, and I think he's a good build other than that stance he was in. But he just does, I don't have a whole lot to judge him off of other than I like the scenes that he's in. So by all accounts, he should be probably my dead last, but I do like everything I saw him in, so he's my number 9 by default. I know, man, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to crap on you here, but the dude got literally probably 35 seconds of screen time. It's like Donald Pleasance. Like, he was there for 5 days, and he's in the movie for, what, 20 minutes? Like when you realize it, like Beetlejuice, the movie's Beetlejuice, but Michael Keaton's only in it for like 15 minutes of the movie or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, when you really look at it, you're like, oh God, like this is iconic. This dude or whoever's iconic. But wow, when you really step back and look at it, like he wasn't in it much.
Well, there's a difference between build up with Beetlejuice and a build up with, they changed actors. So
Truth.
If Tom Morga had been scripted more throughout this film, I do think he would have brought something unique to the table, and he would skyrocket up through the ranks like that. That said, I'll get there when I get to him. Number 8. Number 8 is my sassiest pick, and it's just because I don't like that they did the same thing they did in Friday 6. They replaced their thick boy. And that is A. Michael Lerner. When he is in Halloween 6, he feels different than what George P. Wilbur felt. I am more intimidated with the George P. Wilbur scenes. It's just something in the way he moves that seems so Terminator-esque, like Dick Warlock. I mean, A. Michael Lerner did fine. He absolutely did fine. I don't have any problems with him. It's just I prefer George P. Wilbur in the Halloween 6 suit.
Like, I completely agree with what you said about the Terminator thing, man. But when I actually think of Lerner in that, I think of the T-800 full-on endoskeleton, because he's so like shoulder wide, and the way he like bows out his elbows just a little bit, and he's always making this almost fist. And he's walking down like a football player down a hallway, and he just is always so freaky. And he's, like I said, he's very like triangular, and it's just freaky. He looks like a linebacker's going to come and destroy you.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I don't dislike him. I just feel that the studio made a split-second decision, and if you are a longtime fan, you can start to pay attention to the differences in the way that, I mean, he's not in the film that much.
Right.
But he's in it enough to be like at the end, things are fitting a little bit different on old Mikey. Right. Than they were 20 minutes ago.
I don't think anybody could have given you a better vibe, though, of George P. Wilbur, that intensity and that anger. But for the amount of screen time he has, you get a sense of his Michael Myers. You get the flow, you get the kills, you get that intensity. Like, you get enough screen time to really give an honest opinion of this guy for especially a last-minute thing coming out of nowhere. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think for replacement, especially last minute, I don't think you could have done any better.
Yeah, no. Again, like John said earlier, it's not that I dislike any of these. They all have to fall somewhere. Unfortunately, I think others are better.
Yeah.
Just how it is.
Yeah, my number 8, I got a lot of nostalgia for this, and I'll get into the reasons why he's at 8, because you had him a lot lower as your least favorite, and that's Chris Duran. I don't like that he's pigeon-toe, but to be fair, you didn't have to shoot it that way. I mean, if you told him, look, I'm going full wide here, or like always know that I might be, shot at a distance to where you'll be full body, full frame. So, there could be a little bit give and take on that. Once again, he's at the mercy of the movie and the mask that he's in. Sometimes the mask doesn't look too bad. Sometimes it looks absolutely atrocious. And we're just talking about the main mask. I don't know. There's sometimes, like, especially in high definition, and I always know I talk about this with H2O and high definition, but like it really shows you all the ticks, the quick, and then Michael Myers is all about that subtle movements and the smoothness. But when you see him, like there's a scene where they get out of the building or whatever, and they go down the stairs, and Michael comes out, opens the door, and you can kind of see him twitching around where, like, in lower definition, like standard definition, you don't really notice that as much because it flows a little bit better. But like there's little ticks that kind of drop him down a little bit. But the vibe I get from Chris Durant is a really, like I've said this before, a really good mixture of 78 and 81, where you're like kind of angry, kind of getting nasty. You're starting to display victims like with their stomachs torn out and stuff like this, but you're also subtle and sly, and you're working your way in, and you're building up to the kills, and you know what I mean? So it's the suspense and everything else feels there. The movements feel pretty good. There's a lot more of stepping into the scene than there was in 78 and 81. But 81, like, it's kind of like the shark, right? Like you held the shark at a distance for reasons, obviously, but in that second movie, you see a heck of a lot more shark. Same thing with Myers. So I think they did a really good job of kind of pulling back and going back to basics. And I think, like I said before, like when he's stabbing the girlfriend, I lost her name now, the black-haired gal, like the slow movements and the sound design of that is just really good, and it feels just right for Michael Myers. And then when he gets hit by Molly, when she grabs that brick and he gets up, in that intensity in his eyes from that downward angle, I love that. So there's some good and there's some bad. So I put him at number 8. I really do like him. I got like I said, couple twists, couple tweaks. He goes up.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Well, that was 8. So 7 is who I fought tooth and nail for, and that is Tom Morga. I believe, given more, he would be way higher on the list. I said that earlier. I'll say it again. I'll say it till the day I die. I do believe, given more, he could do more. I mean, look at his presence in Friday 5. But then they showed so little of him throughout the film that I imagine actually seeing him in action a lot more would be way more effective. The thumb kill is one of my all-time favorite Myers kills. So I think that's part of why I fought so hard to have him on this list, is if you get one of my top 10 kills, you gotta be on the list, man. That's just fair. Oh, absolutely fair. And Friday 5 is so good. I agree.
I got to give Friday 5 another rewatch, because last time I watched it, it pissed me off like really bad. I got to give it another. I got to get it another shot. The thumb kill, the older I get, the less I like it, because the idea of like putting a thumb through a forehead is awesome, but like how it looks doesn't look that great. Like that much like impact and trauma into the forehead, and it just seems like it went through jello. Like they needed to like cave in more of the forehead and have a little bit more going on. It just seemed a little too like, what? Like it seemed like he put a lightsaber through his forehead almost. Like, I don't know. It just, the older I get, the less, maybe it's just seeing it more times, maybe it's less impactful. We've seen a lot more gore. Like when you see the eyeballs roll out in kills, whoa.
I think you're also, look at the year versus kills. So, for practical effects at the time, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
Right, but to a degree, anything after John Carpenter's The Thing, practical effects should, like, that is what has always been held as practical effects, like, top of the line. I know it's two different things, but I'm just saying, like, after John Carpenter's The Thing, and after you watch The Fly, and like Aliens, and like there is no holds bar when it came to practical effects. So really, after some of those movies, there's no excuse for, you know what I mean? If you had the budget,
I'm gonna be that guy. The Thing looks good for the time. It doesn't hold up as well today.
Dude, I just watched it. And I promise you, it holds up. I just watched.
No,
The
I
remake
watched it like 6 months ago. I love it. It's a great film. It's probably one of the best horror films of all time. But the graphics, the effects have this 80s cheese that can only work on 80s cheese horror. That's just how it is. Now, am I taking away from it? No, 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 no. I'm just saying that if you released The Thing today and it had those same exact effects, beard hair, it would not work. It absolutely would not work.
Well, I think it would probably be even better today. But I mean, if you put in the same effort as they put in, that guy went insane from
It
making
Chapter
this.
2 stole one of The Thing's ideas, and The Thing did it better.
Oh, right, no question. But the only thing the last time I saw that that I think might have been a little cheesy was the arm, like when he puts the arms in and the stomach gets him, like that looked a little cheesy. Other than that, though, man, like the sound design with the like in the like I think like I get so lost in what's happening, like it just kind of gives you that shield over because everything's so dark and nasty and like painful and twitchy. And anyway, we'll get back to Halloween. My number my number 7.
Yeah.
Missing the movie by just one number, which is interesting because it's the same thing for Chris Durant. And that is Brad Laree. I don't really have anything negative to say. I mean, I think he's a good representation of the character from H2O. I think he's a good representation of the character, like I said, from Chris Durant. I think he's got a better mask. I think he was shot in the movie a little bit better. Like the movie cinematography and set design is way worse than H2O. It really is. But as far as like showing Michael stalking through the house and like when Michael's in the tunnels, like he's actually pretty scary. Like I just how he was treated, I get it, guys, I get it, but I don't have any real negatives for him. I mean, there's like I said, there's little tweaks and there's some shots I don't like, but as far as like he showed up to work and did what he was told, I think he did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is funny that he's your number 7 because he's my number 6.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, so close. I mean, I think that he is, and this pisses a lot of people off, I think that he is a better Michael than Chris Durant. I think he is built better. I think that the shots that they give him, the wide shots, the long shots, all look better. I think his mask feels better. His coveralls seem more like, he just feels more Myers-esque. Your problem with the, I told you to stay in the car or whatever, I'm not trying to quote that verbatim, but where Busta Rhymes gets in his face.
Oh, yeah. You got that, dog? I left the back door unlocked for you.
Yeah, like, I get it. But look at everything else he's given. He is an unstoppable force that is also very Stalker-esque. I love it. I actually really enjoy his performance, and I'm kind of sad that he didn't get another shot at it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, if you put him, like, there's a little bit of hustle to Michael Myers at the end of the first movie, right? But it's the climax of the movie. I think his Myers is like, I mean, he's a little bit more of what you come to expect, that smooth, very void of any kind of feelings or emotions or anything. He's just a smooth killer, right? Yeah. So he loses a little bit of the playfulness that 78 has, and some of the shrines and stuff like that. But again, just a great Myers. I mean, and once again, that's not really like the shrine and the playfulness really isn't his fault either. So let's see. So the thumb kill is classic. I know it is. The older I get, I don't know. I haven't watched the thing since I was a kid. Oh man, it just came out on 4K. 4K is gorgeous, and it's a horror movie that my wife loves. So the more I watch the thing, the more I love it. And I really do love the prequel. I'm a little bummed we never got a sequel, but I think the movie is perfect and should be left alone the way it is. Because really, every time I watch it, I get more out of the movie. And when you watch the movie, this is not something that can break out. Like if an alien got out to a town, you can nuke the town. If the thing gets out anywhere but where it was, the whole world's dead in 2 weeks or whatever the computer says. But not only is he better than Duran, but Resurrection is a better movie. Oh, okay, can't go there.
Wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah, can't go there. Can't go there, buddy. Can't go there. I can't go to your 0 or 0.0001 percentage of population. I can't go there. Can't do it. Okay,
yeah. So you're number 6.
Here's where we get a little nasty, a little rock and roll, and I love it. We already talked about it. That's Michael Lerner, and I love his football linebacker, like I said, T-800 endoskeleton, just murderous eyes. They do a really good job of when they shoot him, since the mask is a bit bigger, his eyes are always really dark. The mask is always really, really creepy. Like where Wilbur fills it out and it looks great. It looks great. But like with the mask loose, for some reason, it looks creepier on him, and the hair looks even meaner, and since it looks less full, it looks more nasty and rock and roll-ish, which it probably was because it was filmed towards the end of the movie making. But I just love him. There's a couple movements he has, like when he turns and tilts his head, he kind of clicks a little too much, and the mask kind of catches a little bit because it is a little baggy. But I'm really, really nitpicking after watching this movie way too many times. When he's running down that hallway, though, and he just smashes dude up against the bars, like that gray and the black and the mask and like the burnt hand, everything, like, and his slim physique, but like I said, like his big shoulders, I love it. And then the massacre scene is awesome and rock and roll. And he's creepy and he moves well, like the way he steps in when he sees Paul Rudd and what's her name, I forget her name now, but he steps into the hospital thing, and like you just see the shadow of him, and then you see him turn around and walk through the hallways. Just creepy H2 vibes. I love him so much. I mean, I don't know, man. Like Wilbur had more to do, and he had more of the kills. But man, I might even like. I think Lerner's better than Wilbur in this movie, and not by much. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He's just scarier. He has that mean vibe, the intensity, and he's creepy. He's got like all of it. And he's pretty subtle, like for being so vicious. I think Lerner did a great job for a last-minute cast for doing what he could with nothing. Like for not even they weren't even supposed to be shooting the ending of this movie. They did like this covert ops thing where they just shot a different ending of the movie because they were told to. Like I don't know, man. I can't believe how good a job he did. I can't believe it.
So I want to remind everybody, this is personal opinions. Do I think that this is the actual order that the best should go in? Absolutely not. This is just how I view the films. And I state again, I don't think any one of these are bad. Not even a little. So when I ruffle everybody's feathers with my number 5, just know, opinions and assholes. So, with that said, my number 5 is James Jude Courtney. Most people will put him in their top 3, and I understand why. I don't disagree. He's my number 5. I've had less exposure to him. I do think that he does great. I think his kills are fantastic. I think he knows what he's doing, and he has room to grow, depending on how Ends goes. If Ends is horrid, it's probably going to stay right about there for me. If Ends is great, he's probably going to move up. It's just how it is. And I feel like with John's reaction, I'm going to have to say that same thing with 4, 2, 1. Yeah.
He's at number 5. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, my God.
I also want to tell you, this list took a minute and a half for me to make. Like, no gut reactions, no flinching, no nothing.
Now, is that like a dramatic minute and a half or like literally 90 seconds?
No, I just like went. And I was like, yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you agreed with yourself. Yeah, that's good. Wow. Dude, well, here's the thing. Like we talked about, like I talked about at the beginning, like we talked about, like you cannot objectively, I mean, you can if you really wanted to break down every single category and like try to score it with like a group census of like the top whatever YouTubers. Maybe you could objectively give me something where I could agree with, but there has to be like, what does this Michael Myers do for you and why? Does he connect to the original source material? Does he get you excited when he's on screen? Does he piss you off? Like there's so much that's just got to be compiled, and there's some things where you can't just be like, because I like it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah, I don't hate that opinion. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, you are crazy. So yeah, you all are crazy. So anyway,
God, you're gonna lose your mind.
yeah, I know. You know what I should have done, and I was talking about it before you, right before you got on. I was like, I really wanted to. We like when we do these, we really should try to guess like the controversial stuff. We should try to guess each other's list, like beforehand. Like that would be kind of fun. But anyway, so my number 5 is, and this is also going to have a bit of a caveat as well because it just has to. But my number 5 is Tyler Mane. I think for Rob Zombie's movie, he's fantastic. He's perfect. I think if you took out, like, if you hate the backstory and the what it does to the lore of Michael Myers, but you put Tyler Mane's Michael in there, I think it works fine. I don't think like the performance by him like is atrocious at all. Might not be your cup of tea. Like you might want some decaf, but this is all caffeine with a little cocaine and roid rage, just all up in it. So I get it, and it's hard because like some of these you might love because of the original intent of the character, because how it makes you feel, because of how it connects. Tyler Mane's its own little thing right over here because it's its own story, its own reasons why, it's blah blah blah. But he's a tank. He looks awesome. The kills are awesome. Like I don't know what to say. Like he's just freaking awesome. He's mean. Like we talked about with the masks in the second movie. He becomes a monster, like the old school Frankenstein with the split mask and like the just the nastiness of the rags he's wearing, and like stuff is growing on him and decaying on him, and he's just becoming this freak of nature. Like he's just, and he's smooth for as big and as violent as he is. Like Wilbur's got like this marine intensity, where Tyler Mane, like I said, has got this like hovercraft tank feel to him. Like he's still smooth and he's coming at you hard, all cannons firing. He's still a little bit playful, which is great, you know. Like, and the twists and turns work really well for him. I just think he's fantastic. I love the mask; it's great. Yeah, I mean, I don't like H2O necessarily, but for him portraying Michael Myers, it's fantastic. His version of Michael Myers, that version of Michael Myers.
Yeah. God, this is gonna piss everybody off.
No, that I don't agree with. Which part? Maine is, what is that, 5? So he's cracked he's in the middle. He's in the higher of the middle. And I like him.
I don't know how to begin this statement.
Number 4.
What are the words I can use?
Well, this is your 4, right? So I mean, really, your top 4 have got to be fairly close, right? Or at least the you know, maybe not the first, but 2, 3, and 4 have got to be somewhat close, I would think.
So my number 4 is Nick Castle.
Whoa! Like, I don't know hey, real quick, what's crazier? Like, George P. Wilbur at almost my dead last could be my dead last, or Nick Castle at number 4. Like, what's crazier here? Like, that's our hot takes right now. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, that said, as John and I have said many times on this channel, Halloween is, of course, my absolute favorite in the franchise. But I do think that he is the staple of what Michael Myers should be. But I think other people perfected it in a different manner. And also I had more exposure to those films because I watched the first one so much that it eventually became a film that I wanted to watch less and less. I think it's something about preserving the greatness, whereas I used to always just like, oh, I'm going to go watch First Halloween. Oh, I'm going to watch First Halloween. Oh, I'm going to watch First Halloween. I did the same thing with Terminator 2. I did the same thing with Friday 4. I've done the same thing with Bride of Chucky and Child's Play 2. Like, it's just, I want to preserve that goodness that's left. That said, he comes in at number 4 simply because the others, I enjoy their portrayal of Myers more. Do I think he should be in a number 1 spot or number 2? Absolutely, he should be. But this is where I put him on my personal list. Let the death threats come.
Right, dude. That's a hot take right there, man. I thought I was gonna be bad for putting Wilbur lower, but I don't know. That might be even worse. I don't know. Like overall, like that's yeah. Jason says no hate here. Of course he's on your side. Did you guys like paint chips as children? Like Tommy Boy, like that? You know? No? Okay. Wow, you wouldn't even put him in the top 5. That's you guys are a little nutty.
Well, that's just that. Like mine's sacrilege. That's full on blasphemy.
Yeah, like you don't have the others without Nick Castle. I mean, like,
exactly, and that's why I prefaced with that. Like, do I think he deserves the number 1 spot? Absolutely, without a doubt, hands down. But being true to myself, since this is a personal list,
right? No, yeah, no, man. So my next one also probably has a caveat, and it sucks that there's so many Myers that just didn't get enough screen time, got ripped out of the movie, whatever. But this is my number 4 is going to be Aaron Armstrong. I think his walk is great. I think his intensity is great when he comes out of the closet. I think the
what you put him in the top.
I did. Well, and like I said, now the reason like he goes above Brad Laree, and the reason he goes above Tyler Mane is because he has a solid mask. The jumpsuit doesn't look perfect, but it fits him well. His intensity, I can feel like he is just like I said with Brad Laree, just what I said with Chris Duran. I really do feel like this is a natural movement of the character. I mean, you had to know Armstrong was coming soon because I hadn't said him yet. I don't know if I can just miss.
Felt like you had said him. Okay, so hold on. Let's rewind to your previous statement. He is not a natural progression from 78. If you look at Myers from 78, he's much calmer, much more well-mannered, much more controlling of his actions. Whereas this Myers is going towards the Dick Warlock, like just aggressive to be aggressive.
No, because if you watch him, like when he's walking down, like when they first are, the cops are chasing him, and he's walking down the alleyway. It's a nice slow movement. You get a nice shot of him. Boom, he's gone. Right. Really, to me, feels like the sheets in 78. Like he's there and then he's not there. Behind the bush, he's there, he's gone. Like, and then you get into the house and then he's looking out the window, right? You call back to the original movie. He got hungry. There's the dog on the floor. There's the window he's looking out of, right? And then you got Michael busting out just like he busts out with Bob in 1978. He comes out of nowhere with this intensity and grabs the cop and starts choking him. Well, he was very hands-on in that first movie. Hey, this is the caveat, is that he didn't get a whole lot of screen time, but you can give him credit for how he's going to be because of you get enough of his movements to see. He has a solid mask. He looks the part. He's a little chunky when he's getting like hit. When he's strangling the cop, he's a little. But there's probably, I think there was a stomach guard there to protect him. And you see a little bit too much of the under eyes a little bit. But I mean, they should have fixed that. They didn't. It's fine. But I think, like I said, he probably shouldn't be this high because he didn't get a full movie. But we, just like with Michael Lerner, we got just enough. I like where he's coming from. I like what he's doing. I like what he represents. I like the feel and the vibes. I like the look. there's nothing in it that I don't think is Michael Myers. There's not a bad shot with him being Michael Myers. Like, that's why he's got to go over Tyler Mane. Tyler Mane, like I said, apples and oranges. It doesn't give me nostalgic vibes when I look at Tyler Mane. But when I look at him for his movie, for his portrayal, I love him.
Anyways.
He got a tenth of the movie. You're right. I mean, you're right. But he got enough time to where I could tell he was going to be a quality.
He did get more time than Tom Morga.
He did. And he probably got less time than Michael Lerner, but still.
Yeah.
But there was that disconnect where this one, I mean, obviously there's a disconnect because you had Nick Castle, then you had him, and then you had, James D. Courtney in this timeline. But yeah, he does nothing that offends me. It's all good, and it brings back the nostalgia vibes. So that's where he goes.
I feel like
I mean, to be fair, you probably could, like, Tyler Mane probably does deserve to be ahead, but I wouldn't. I like Brad Laree, but he does nothing great. He doesn't blow me away with anything. He's a solid Myers, doesn't blow me away with anything. Chris Duran has better scenes than Brad Laree, but he's not as good as a Myers. So, like, Armstrong, he just shines. It's a shining beacon.
I would like to real quick point out the 3 that I have left and the 3 that you have left. It took me a second to figure out what 3 you have left. But you have Castle, Courtney, and Warlock.
Right.
Which for me leaves Wilbur, Mane, and Warlock.
Yep.
Notice the common denominator here. I think it's awesome that even though we have various feelings on Myers, we both agree on that one common denominator. There's something that Warlock brought to it that others just flat out did not.
Yeah.
No matter what. But I just had to say, I was sitting there, I was like, what is your third? What is your third? And I was like, oh. So I don't know if it's actually in your number 3 spot. He's not mine. But I think it's cool that we have that going on.
Yeah.
So I disagree that everyone deserves to be ahead. I mean, I put him ahead of Chris Duran.
Yeah, I know I get your top 3. I really do. Like, Warlock is classic and is awesome for his movie. I mean, George P. Wilbur is a fan favorite, especially among the Thornton trilogy people. And then Tyler Mane is, like I said, I really don't have any negatives for him. The only thing that kind of detaches him from greatness to me is just nostalgia and that original intent of the character that I yearn for. It's the only thing that Armstrong has over him. Otherwise, Tyler Mane would be over him.
And I want to say something else that's fun here. The original intent of the character. This is why John and I have a problem with this current Halloween timeline that's going on. As we were promised that original intent of the character. So Halloween 1978. That was crapped all over. That said, since that was the promise, that's what I wanted out of that trilogy. So I just don't want to be taken out of context when people realize Tyler Mane is in my top 3. Because that's something entirely different. That's what I like out of those films versus someone promising me a return to form. That just is.
Yep.
Oof, okay. Apparently Jason and I have a pretty close top 3. So, with that, I'm going to go with my number 3 is George P. Wilbur. There's, yes, the shoulder pads look terrible. Yes, the mask in 4 looks like something you picked up off the shelf and shouldn't have. Yes, the coveralls look a little bit stiff and awkward, but at the same time, I'm happy that it's like, oh, these are different than what he had before. We're not just like copy and pasting. He killed some other guy and got his stuff. Cool. I dig it. That's fine. Yes, the mask is goofy, but I still defend he picked it up off a store shelf. Before Trick or Treat Studios masks, that is what Michael Myers masks on the shelves looks like. Stark white with terrible hair. And that's the best looking one. If you just rewind like 8 years, it's just true.
But again, you still need to make it look cool. You're a movie. You need to make it look cool. It needs to work and be organic. But it's to say, like when they told Brandon Fraser in The Mummy, they said, look cool doing these stunts and don't die. Like you still need to sell the sizzle, not the steak. And nobody wants a burnt up, nasty steak.
This said, Halloween 6 is one of my all-time most watched Halloween movies. I absolutely love his performance. I love how he looks there. I love the way he moves. I thoroughly think that it would be really cool to get him in a non-Thorn trilogy-esque film. I know it's too late now, but an actual sequel to 1 or 2 or something like that. I would have loved to have seen that. I do think that I yearn for the way he portrayed the character in a film that's not known as one of the lesser sequels.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, if you don't get George P. Wilbur, then you probably don't get Tyler Mane. You probably don't get James Jude Courtney. Like, or you don't get the extent of brutality and awesomeness that the ability to still be smooth and intense for the most part. For the most part, yeah. So Jabari, what's up, Maine? So he says Maine, Warlock, and Castle are my 3 through 1. Oh, okay, yeah. Maine, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it's funny, for as much like crap as you can talk on Rob Zombie's movies,
he is not the problem.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah. Wilbur's power walk across the street towards the end. Yeah, he is. He
is getting it. That move, he ain't playing.
Right. Yeah. Again, it feels very like Frankenstein marching to the beat of just the devil. You know what I mean? Like that. The sway he's got, the arm movements are just like, I'm coming to destroy. Playtime's over. Like I'm not gonna lay down in 78 and play dead anymore. I've already done that in this movie. Now I'm coming to kill you permanently. But anyway. I think he did that afterwards. Anyway, I'm sorry, but that movie, I'm telling you, between watching the theatrical and the producer's cut now so many times, it's like jacked my brain.
Yeah, it's jumbled. Like I have to watch the cut that I want and then like think about that for a minute, and then as soon as I walk away from it, it's confused.
Yeah, I wonder if it's not like hidden messages, like it's supposed to like unwire your brain to where you're like, I think I need to watch that again. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe I need to keep, Like it's
now in 10 years, there's going to be another cut, and we're just going to be like, okay, I don't know what's happening anymore. Right. At this point, I don't. Please help.
Yeah, all of a sudden we're just like, we're the ones staring at a wall, looking past the wall, drooling, and all we can say is, I like Michael Myers. Like
Halloween 6 Part 3 is good.
So my number 3, this one's not without negatives, unfortunately, and it's not really a big negative. It's just something I would change that has always bothered me, even since I was a kid. But it's my favorite look of Michael Myers, and that is Dick Warlock. I love the mask. Like I've said before, I feel like he's no longer wearing a mask. This is the face of evil. He has become evil. He is more than just a man. He is a part of Samhain. He is the unconscious evil mind, a possessed, not even human being anymore, a possessed entity. And just the whole movie, he flows perfectly from Nick Castle all the way to the stairs. And then when like they're stretching out the climax of the movie for whatever reason, because the movie kind of drags a little bit in certain spots, like the robotic super slow movements, like the movements are okay if you just speed it up just a little bit. Like, and I'm not really blaming him too much. They probably should have looked at that and go, let's shoot this again, let's speed it up a little bit. But I just, like I've said before, I think he is the monster. The blood tears, the swinging around, he's in the nursery, and like the over the shoulder shots, like the silhouette shots, like I was talking about with Leonard in 6, like there's just so much good. Him kind of fuzzy in the background, right, with Elrod's or whatever, right, with the sandwich, with the knife. Just so many good iconic shots of him. Like I said before, like that rock and roll when he steps into the red and you see him and the hair's all nasty.
The only negative shot of him is look, I'm behind your couch. Like, other than that, everything else works. The surprise isn't as great, but everything else, like, it's...
Yeah, it really is. Let's see. Am I the only one that doesn't like H2 Mask? Oh man, you're crazy.
Yes.
I think you are.
Absolutely, you are.
Now,
I think you are.
Now, Jason, to be fair, and I'm not trying to sound whatever. Don't take this in a negative way whatsoever. I'm just asking. But have you seen the movie on Blu-ray and or 4K? Because for some reason, some of the mask is better and some get worse. And in this movie, it gets better. It just looks better. It looks meaner and nastier. It looks grimy. It fits the tone of the movie and makes the movie even more icky and creepy and more there's more of a threat. Like, yeah.
No, sir.
No, sir, on the Blu-ray. Okay, so, and I'm not saying like it'll change your mind and blow you away, but it moved up quite a bit once I watched it on Blu-ray, and then it went up even more on 4K for whatever reason, man. Like, it just, he looks like a zombie. He looks, like I said, like death coming for you. Yeah, he looks like the Grim Reaper. Yep.
Well, I guess this brings us to my number 2, which means you're going to figure out my number 1. So, my number 2 is Dick Warlock.
Yep.
I'm burning it down. I don't care. These are personal opinions on fictional characters. So, remember that. All things are possible through Jesus. So, remember that. Write that down. Anyways, Dick Warlock. I mean, he set the standard, in my opinion, for the future Myers. Of course, none of this was possible without Nick Castle. Absolutely. But something Dick Warlock brought to the table changed Michael Myers as a character overall. Throughout the rest of the films, reboots, sequels, spin-offs, whatever. Without Warlock, you would not have an aggressive George P. Wilbur. You would not have an overly aggressive Tyler Mane, and you would not have what we got in Halloween Kills. Like, that is just true. I love the way Dick Warlock's mask looks, the way it stretches on his face, his stature, the way he moves. He's very calculated. He's always in the shadows, but just out of sight. It's perfect. Perfect. Except for that couch scene. Other than that, absolutely great. So that is my number 2 is Dick Warlock.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's fan-freaking-tastic. Like, he just is. Like I said, iron out that last little bit, and I think in some times, like in some days, he could be my number 2. He really could. But my number 1 or my number 2, you gotta put some respect.
Who does number 2 work for?
Right, you gotta put some respect on it. I mean, like we've talked about before, he's the one that started it all. Without his creepy, just go over there and start walking. You know what I mean? Like, with very little direction, just do creepy stuff. Just be here and look creepy without doing anything. Cool, I'll go do that. I really think, once again, we were talking about just a second ago with high definition. Some things get better, some things get worse. Unfortunately, the mask in certain angles in 78 gets worse as you watch the hedge scene. Well, you watch the phone scene. There's some other things like that. When you watch it in high definition on Blu-ray and then in 4K, and you see Michael Myers when she first knocks on the door, Jamie Lee Curtis, and you see Michael, and he steps in, he kind of sways a little bit, and it just doesn't feel right for the rest of the movie. It just feels a little jarring. Had Michael been a little bit more creepy, like it feels more like Black Christmas. Like, it just feels like that kind of more like playful calling. I don't know how to say it, but anyway. And then later on, when he's watching Tommy come out of the school and he puts his hand along the chain link fence, I like that shot, but I don't like it for Myers. Like, for what Myers would become and everything else. And it's not really a huge nitpick. It's just little things like the mask, like, Nah, it just kind of lowers it a little bit. So really no negatives. That nobody has even come close to sitting up like him. Like once again, a ghost coming out of the grave. Like right, like a zombie sitting up, the mummy sitting up. Like it just death is coming for you. That is the boogeyman, right? Like there's certain things that he did that nobody else can even come close to repeating. But he is fantastic. I have very little negatives to say. There's just a couple little things, and what the character would become, what other people would do with it, is just a little bit more maybe entertaining, maybe a little bit more what I come to expect. Yeah, I think he's fantastic. I really do.
Yeah. No. That,
Yeah. So burn it down with your number one, man.
Tyler Mane. And that said, Rob Zombie's Halloween films are not my favorite Halloween films. Tyler Mane is my favorite Michael Myers portrayal. He intimidates me the most. He makes me think about dark alleyways the most. I do like his progression. I like that we see him as a kid. I know, do with that what you will. But I like that we see him grow into this character. I like how it follows him throughout his life. I like watching his murderous tendencies develop. I like how he portrays those. I also am kind of a fan of the oversized Myers. Do I think that it fits the best? No. But I like it. Again, back to this is the difference between why I have issues with Halloween Kills versus this. Halloween Kills promised that original source material. Rob Zombie's Halloween never did.
Right.
That promise wasn't there.
Right. It told you from literally go that it wasn't.
Exactly. And when they cast Tyler Mane, I remember being like, Sabretooth?
Right.
That's weird. And, so I'm like 16, 17 at the time, and I'm just like, that's weird, but whatever. And when I went and saw it, and his presence, like, he demands the screen. When Tyler Mane's Myers is on the screen, that's it. Like, that, you have my attention. 100%. There's no, I don't break away. If that's on in the background, and it's a scene with him in it, I am right there at the TV. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it went from like Michael Myers knocking on your door or approaching the door and like, oh my God, what's going to happen? To SWAT is at your front door with that huge swinging thing. They're coming in, guns blazing with the full riot shield, smoke bombs. Like it is a tank is at your front door and you can't do anything. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean,
when he pushes through the front door in the first Halloween and drops dead body one on the ground and just looks at her.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene is that's horrifying. And it works. I remember Tyler Mane as a pro wrestler. Yeah, I do too. He didn't get that long of a run, if I remember correctly, but yeah, I remember him as a wrestler.
Yeah, they chew him out. They chew him up and spit him out pretty quick. I got to meet him. I can't believe how tall he is. I was really kind of surprised. I mean, I knew he was tall, but like I've met some like superhero movies and had photos taken with him and stuff like that. And like I'm always like, I'm bigger than you, not that guy. No. And in his prime, he crushed me.
We both got his autograph. And what's funny is when we went through the line, I'm dressed up as Freddy versus Jason, but I was taking off the mask gear for every celebrity I met. But I'm standing there and I'm like, I'm supposed to be Jason, and this dude was Michael Myers. Man, this ain't right.
Yeah.
And I stand at like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", somewhere in there. So that's he's up there.
I will say though, for as tall as he was and as intimidating as he should have been, Scout Taylor Compton is so gorgeous that she was more intimidating. I have also been around and seen and take photos with beautiful ladies that were and are actresses And I was never, and I don't know why I was so intimidated. I just, like, she's super cute in the first two movies, and now all of a sudden she's a knockout. I haven't seen her in anything in a long time, and gorgeous gal. I wish I didn't even have the courage. I don't know what it was. I can't do it. I can't do it. But anyway, so that leads my number one, which is obviously I haven't talked about it yet, and that's James Jude Courtney. I think he does a great job. Like I said, you put all the Michael Myers things down, all the hills and valleys, and then you iron it out, and this is what you get. To me, I like the burnt mask a lot more than I do the 18 mask. Looks meaner. He looks more like a monster. I think he fits the suit pretty well. He's a natural progression from Nick Castle. He's a 3-4 inches taller. That happens from 21 to whatever. You can grow a few more inches before you get into your 30s. It happens. His brutality is awesome. I love it. He still has some subtle stuff. I love it. He still plays around. I love it. They do shoot him in some poor scenes and too much lighting and some certain things, but I mean, there's just every time, like when he's playful, he stabs the knife, he looks at it, he pauses, he grabs another one. That's like letting it breathe, letting the scene breathe, letting the kills breathe, and you go right back to it. But then there's some where the intensity, like in 18, when he just grabs the chick, hits her face up against it, stabs her in the neck, boom, walking away, I'm done now. I just think it's a perfect a melting pot of all the good stuff of the Michael Myers, and then here it is, and it's still a continuation from 78. I don't agree, you don't agree with the last little bit of how the movie ended. Maybe 18 ends fixes it, maybe not. Like I said before, I think this is a natural progression. If you locked up Michael Myers, for 15 years, and then you locked him up for another 40, he's got an even more taste for killing, and he's got even less time, and he never wants to be locked up again. I think this is a natural progression. Like I've always said, I feel like he's a heroin addict. He got a little taste for it. Now he has to do it more, faster until it's over. I just love it so much. That's why I think also we were talking about how kills just kicked me in the teeth, just because I was just like, man, you reached for the sun and then you burnt out in glory, whatever that saying is, but you flew too close to the sun. Yeah, that's what it is, I think. But I love him. Like I said, the mask in 18 doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but just his intensity and everything, I love that. I feel the entire franchise when I watch him. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. What's funny is you and I both picked what we felt as our strongest, most wicked interpretations of Michael as our number one. I think that we both agree that like Warlock, Castle deserve the number one, number two spots.
Right.
But there's something about the portrayal of James Jude Courtney for you. There's something about the Tyler Mane portrayal for me. And other people, are going to say Wilbur. Other people are going to say, God, I hope not, but probably Chris Durand or Don Shanks. But it's just the way that particular actor embraced that character that just took it to the next level for you.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with James Jude Courtney. He's just lower on my list because that's where he happens to fall right now. That's it. That's it.
Sure. Yeah. Like I said, the only one I really have major issues with is George P. Wilbur, but it's a massive combination of all the different, the movie and the pads and the certain shots and like not all of it's his fault. It's just sometimes I get irritated when I look at it. So Jason says, as much as I love Kills, Courtney is my favorite. Did you say which one is? I was just about to ask you. Yeah. Wilbur at number one. And I'll tell you what. I bet if he was on here, man, and he was selling it, I bet he would put the same passion that me and you just did for our number ones. And I bet you I wouldn't disagree with, unless it's something I really disagree with, because I do, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I bet I wouldn't disagree with most of it. Like, when you say I like this, I'd probably say, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, because Tyler Mane, I have really no negatives. I just have no nostalgia, because it doesn't attach that. It's its own thing, but respecting it on its own thing is still amazing. Yeah, like I said, Tyler probably should be my number 4 with all respects. Screen time, 2 movies, yada yada, but yeah. God, I have no negatives for him.
Yeah,
like
no,
yeah.
that's like, should Nick Castle be higher on my list? Yes. Busy. No,
Right.
it
I
just what it is.
I love this. I'd have Lerner high, despite not getting much. Yeah, man, dude,
Yeah.
I want Lerner to get more love. I know he wasn't in it for very much. Maybe he doesn't even care, but I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Real quick, I got to get going, but I do want to talk about real fast Hellraiser, the trailer. Are you excited? Quick thoughts. Go.
I think that what I saw in that trailer gives me even more hope and makes me think even more positively about the future of the Hellraiser franchise. I did enjoy Hellraiser Judgment. I thought it was a step in the right direction, but unfortunately, it did not have the budget to really continue, which sucks. That said, I do think that what they're doing, a reimagining, retelling, maybe closer to Hellbound Heart, she is intimidating. The voice is freaky, and it reminds me of Gozer, but scarier.
Yeah, I can see that.
Um,
I can see that.
I don't know why I had to think for a minute, but yeah, she sounds like Gozer, but scarier. Um, I think it has the potential to actually grow into something amazing. Which kind of sucks because it is a Hulu film, so like Netflix, this may be the only thing we get. It very well could be. I know that there's talks of a show with a different cast, with a different story arc. There haven't been a whole lot of updates about that, so I don't even know if it's going to get greenlit. That probably depends on this movie at this point.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know if you want to
um,
confuse people too much. Like, there's only so much love for Hellraiser, and if you start confusing people or whatever, they might just be like, God, here they go again with another crap. You know, they're just shoving more
if
Hellraiser out there. It's not good.
you can't do to Hellraiser what's been done to Batman, it's not going to work.
Right.
So
You
don't
can't.
do it.
I agree.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't have done it with Chucky either, but just don't do it with Hellraiser. It's going to end way, way more poorly.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason says, Main at 2 and Courtney 3, by the way. Heck yeah, man. I get that, man. You like the nasty and the rock and roll, and I can respect that. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I get what you're saying. I would have figured that Wilbur would be high on both of your guys. It's just it's what you like. You like the rock and roll, and I like rock and roll too. But yeah, yeah. With the new Hellraiser, I'm excited. It feels a little stylistic, kind of like The Crow. Like very. I mean, I mean that obviously, like in the original, it's all black and dirty and dark, and the second movie is also black and dirty and dark, and so we'll see. I like that. It feels rock and roll. It feels mean. Leviathan looks cool for the split second. The box looks cool. We'll have to see. Like when they step in with like the Chatterer and the new priest, and I don't know if I like the less leather / no leather, whatever, but because I'm afraid that the budget won't be there and it's going to look cheap and kind of I don't know if it's going to sell as well as the leather. I do think it's creepier. I think it gets rid of some of the you don't want to really get rid of the sexual vibes because that's part of it. But I don't know. We'll have to see if it plays or not. I do love the voice. I love the face, but I do think it's a little clean. It's a little clean. Like the Doug Bradley was powder. There's powder on him, right? And like the nails were just a little off, just a little bit to where it looked like they were kind of like freaky. Like they put him in not as a little faster. They put him in with less thought. I don't know. Even though the lines and stuff, but I don't know. We'll have to see, obviously. But I like what I'm seeing. I hope it's great, but I can't really. Who knows? Because like I want to talk about like I thought Jeepers Creepers Reborn was a solid trailer. Everybody hates it. Everybody hates it, and I love watching people. I love watching people that interviewed the director, and then they have to like gently say how much they hate it. And like you can give me all excuses in the world. You have a horror property that should be better than it is, and you fumbled the ball so hard.
When I saw the Jeepers Creepers Reborn, the full trailer, I knew without a doubt that what we were getting was another BC rated film that was done in light of the original material, but not taking it too seriously. And the little bit I have read is like confirmed my every thought.
Yeah, I'll
And
probably never watch it. I don't need to.
I'll probably watch it when it hits streaming. I'm not gunning to see it. I do want to see Hellraiser. I think that it has the potential, and I know this is a controversial pick, but it's actually not because it's rated really high. I think it has the potential to score as good, if not better, than Candyman, the most recent into that.
It won't even touch Candyman, the new Candyman. I promise. I just don't feel Candyman has a theatrical, has an artistic vibe to it. It has depth. You're not going to get anywhere near the new Candyman.
They're both from the mind of Clive Barker, and if done properly, I think it can. The difference is in the type of what the character is, you know.
Right.
So I think I hold those two properties, the two original films, the original Hellraiser and the original Candyman, are beautiful gold films. They just are. They're completely different, but you can tell that they have that same heart behind them. They are horror, but they're more than horror. I think if done right, this Hellraiser will be comparable in the same way to this Candyman as the original two were.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Candyman is more marketable. I'm kind of happy that Hellraiser is going to Hulu for the simple fact that, unfortunately, and I understand like the politics and what you want to see and representation is important. It really is, and all that stuff. It is, but like certain things, like look at Prey. Like right, you tone down the story, and you just give us a good story without having to make it huge and bombastic and spaceships and going against aliens or something crazy. If you can kind of go on these streaming services and kind of tone down and just focus on what makes Predator awesome, then it'll be good. But if
Texas Chainsaw 2022,
right?
We got Leatherface. That's what we wanted. They didn't overcomplicate it like Leatherface 2017.
Right, but if you go Terminator, where you have to keep upping the ante, you lose everything that made the first couple epic. So
you can't top T2. That's just it. Like there's no way in any possible universe where you're given the first two films and you're like, okay, now follow that up and make a true trilogy. You can't. Right. Impossible.
Right. It's just like Aliens. Like it's done. Like it.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Absolutely.
So I think I actually kind of like, and it's sad, but like I just think that you can take more risks. You can do some nastier stuff. Like Hellraiser's just not marketable because it's so nasty, and it needs to be nasty, and it needs to go there, and it needs to push things. And you just can't do that right now.
The Hellraiser films shouldn't be R. They should be NC-17.
Right.
They should be extremely difficult to watch. They should cause conversation amongst horror fans and casual viewers alike. That said, it is almost next to impossible to get an NC-17 film to go anywhere, even on streaming services.
Right.
So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know about all these things that people want to see and that everything that's important and stuff like that. But as far as like taking risks and making it marketable, like there's some things you just can't do because it's not big box office money. Like the percentage of people that want to see the true nastiness that Hellraiser should be is a small portion. Like you can get some slasher fans in a Hellraiser reboot. You make it super nasty and the percentage drops even harder. The rewatch, like the rewatch for the hardcores goes up, but like you got to get the generics in there to make the money. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and that's what sucks. And that's what, hopefully if this does well, maybe we can go there. But I really got to get going, but should be very uncomfortable. You nailed it, man. You nailed it. But anyway, there's heart and depth in Candyman. That's why I think there's you can get nasty while still making it a conversation piece, and you can still kind of iron things out. But anyway, thanks guys for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. This was a super fun stream. I had a blast. I love that we got, I mean, Caleb is in here with some different thoughts. We got Jason coming in out of here. We got Jabari stepping in to give some nice solid picks that are pretty solid without being too controversial. I love it. It was great. I had a blast. Next week we will be doing H3. I know I keep saying this, but next week we'll be doing H3 and we'll be talking about Halloween ends, what we want, what we hope for. We'll see. So yeah, stay tuned. I've got some other knick-knacky unboxings coming. So yeah, thanks again, guys. Check out our old video so you can get some more on our. Until next time, we're out of here.
Peace.